Aita for telling my dad either you pay me a proper wage or I'll quit. My dad owns a restaurant and intends to leave it to one of his kids. My sister who is 28 was not interested and went to be a hairdresser, and my brother who is 29 is in uni. Meanwhile I am 25, went to cook school or whatever you call it in English, and graduated 2 years ago. I love to cook, I love to experiment, I love working in the restaurant business despite the hours being fucking horrid, so I have been designated as the heir more or less. Despite everything going on, the restaurant runs great, and frankly, I take full credit for it. Ever since I took over as head chef, revamped the menu, created a system for people to order and pick up food and so on, the amount of customers has tripled. We actually make more during this crisis even without allowing dine-in customers than my dad made before I worked here full time. Top that, I also often work when someone falls through, be it kitchen work, serving, hosting, whatever. I manage most of the accounting, and I also started a social media presence for the restaurant which has blown up locally. Long story short, I work a minimum of 60 hours a week, often more. Now I do all of this with love. I like it despite swallowing up all my time, but that brings us to what I make. I literally make as much as the serving staff, who are all under 20, would make if they worked full time. That is to say, I make what they would make in 40 hours while working 60 plus hours and having triple the workload, and I am tired of it. I tried speaking to my dad about it, but I kept getting inconclusive answers or bullshit answers. As an example, he talks about it being a difficult time for restaurants, so can't increase my wage despite the fact we make more despite the crisis, or shit like I'll think about it. Can barely pay my goddamn rent at this rate, let alone save even a dime. So I ended up saying what's in the title. I could get another job like yesterday, extreme shortage of chefs, and make at least double what I make right now starting out. Obviously this led to my dad and family blowing up at me, and now I am worried if I am NTA sounds like your dad is just using you for cheap labor. Sure feels like it. NTA, it's important to keep the business side separate from the family side. It's clear that you have been a huge asset and you deserve to be compensated as such. That's my thinking too. As someone who's working in a family business, leave. They do not appreciate you and will not. Get yourself a better paying restaurant job. With your experience it should be no problem. And when the time comes to take over, they will insist you buy it from them, which you won't be able to do since they underpay you. When you can't, they will sell to somebody else for a greatly inflated price due to all your hard work and screw you over. NTA, your father does not value your labor. Find an employer who will, or go into business for yourself. Hell, it sounds like you're already running the place. Might as well do it for real. Yeah, but I'd need to take out a massive loan for that, lol. Aita for setting up my ex-husband look like a bad father. I'll keep this short. When my and ex's daughter Megan was turning 13, she wanted a tiered Harry Potter cake. She loves the movies. She was very specific in what she wanted. I told her as gently as I could that I didn't think we'd be able to afford that. And my ex took that opportunity to be the fun parent and said in a doting voice, "Oh baby, don't worry, daddy will get you your cake." She was all smiles and ran off to get her bags. I told him if he was going to promise this to order it early, cause bakeries require advance order. He got all huffy and said he knew what the fuck he was doing and I should mind my business. I said anything involving our daughter is my business. He said he didn't need my help, and I should just handle the birthday party and he'd get the cake. I said okay, then they left for the weekend. I know my ex. He puts things off that aren't about him. I knew he was going to forget to order. Usually I'd pester him so he wouldn't forget. But he said he didn't need my help, so I decided to not bring it up unless he did. But I did call a friend I have who started decorating cakes to order the cake from her. It cost a bit more than I'd have liked, but not as much as I'd been worried it would. Well, he never brought the cake up again. At least not until the day before her birthday, where he called me, frantic. He forgot to order the cake, and now none of the bakeries will take his order without tacking on a massive fee, cause there's no way they can have the cake ready unless they focus their full staff on one cake. I was going to tell him not to worry, I ordered the cake for him. But then he says, "Why didn't you remind me?" I just snapped and said he needed to figure this out and he better have a cake tomorrow. Then I hung up. He brought a cake. A plain white sheet cake with red trim and one of those printout sugar decals on the front of Harry Potter and his two friends. And a wax 11 candle. She was turning 13. He revealed the cake during her party, so everyone was sitting quiet and Megan looked heartbroken and tried to be nice, but she asked what happened to the cake she wanted. X floundered and I let him for a few seconds before laughing, haha, just kidding. And then I went and pulled the cake I ordered from the kitchen. Megan lit up and everyone laughed and it was just one huge joke and the rest of the party went great. But after everyone went home and Megan was in her room, X tried to lay into me about humiliating him and letting him look like a bad father, and I told him the only one who made him look bad was him. I think I was justified, but some mutual friends think I should have just told him I got the cake to keep things civil between us. Edit, I never told Megan or even planned to tell her. Not until she was older maybe, but she started acting very chilly to X for a long while after her birthday party, and when he asked her why, she admitted to almost walking into the kitchen when he and I were whisper arguing the night of her birthday. She found out he'd completely forgotten to order the cake and the joke cake was actually the real cake he got her. So she was very cross with him for a long time afterwards. Edit 2. To everyone thinking I purposefully waited to have him reveal the joke cake before showing the cake I ordered, I didn't. I'd planned on pulling him aside before the party and letting him know I just went ahead and ordered a cake for him. Then we'd take in the big cake and leave whatever he brought in the kitchen. But he showed up after all the guests had arrived. So I didn't have time to grab him before he sat the sheet cake box on the dining room table where everyone saw it. And I knew everyone would notice us taking his short pink box into the kitchen and coming back out with a taller white one. I thought on my toes. Edit 3. Sorry, but I can't post a cake tax picture because I only got one picture of her cake that day. I'd asked my brother to take pics for me since I was trying to handle everything else, but he got distracted, never asking him again, and the pic has Megan and all her friends around the cake, and I'd prefer to not post pics of other people's children, even with them obscured, online. Also, my friend doesn't bake anymore. She likes to try new stuff, and baking/cake decorating was another thing she got into but lost interest in. But currently she's very into photography. Smile. NTA. Dude was seriously embarrassed that his poor behavior was so easy to predict that you had a contingency plan. Your friends are wrong, but they are coming from a place of sympathy for their friend, and because they want to keep peace in the friend group. It's understandable, but still wrong. Good for you, mama. I understand them not wanting drama or whatever, but I feel like I'm the one having to do everything to keep the peace. Sigh. NTA. Your ex set himself up to fail. You just made sure that your daughter's birthday didn't become a sacrifice to his grand gestures and ego. Prior preparation and planning prevents poor performance. You planned ahead. Your ex didn't. Your daughter was happy, and that's what matters in this scenario. His habit of making, and not keeping, these big promises is one of the smaller reasons he and I got divorced. NTA. It sounds like to everyone on the outside that you two were in on it and just teasing your daughter. He's the only one that had to sit there and shit his pants because he fucked up. He should have dropped to his knees and thanked you and asked how much he owed you for the damned cake. But he didn't, which is one of many reasons we're no longer together. NTA. You actually saved him from looking like a bad father, putting that in quotes because he doesn't look like one. He is one. By having the cake she wanted ready and making it look like his shitty contribution was just a joke. I am extremely glad that this man is your ex and that you are there to be a real parent to your daughter. Yeah, but he was mad that I let him feel humiliated instead of just showing him I got the cake. I'll admit I wanted him to feel like crap for forgetting Megan's cake. Aita for embarrassing my sister in front of her baby daddy. I, 20F, still live at home with my parents and my 4 younger siblings. My older sister, 29F, has her own place where she lives with her son. At the start of the lockdown, March, my sister decided to come stay with us. My sister had started this rude AF habit of snapping her fingers to get someone's attention. Like, she will say their name once and then start snapping her fingers in their direction. She even does this to my mum and dad. My nephew, 1.8, has a habit of copying any actions we do, and this would be one of the rudest things for him to learn, so I decided to nip it in the bud before it caught on. At first I would just tell her to stop doing it cause it's rude, but she never listened. Now, my sister hates it when my siblings and I treat her like our youngling, so I changed tactics, and honestly it was more effective than talking to her. Every time she would start snapping her fingers at anyone, I would walk to her, push down her hand, and in the most patronizing voice I could manage, I would say to her, "Use your words, Brenda, we are smart, I promise we will understand." It works like a charm every time, and everyone finds it funny. Well, after many months of this, it is now a reflex action as I do it a lot. The other day, while her baby daddy they're not together was visiting, she started snapping her fingers at my mum. I was walking by her to go to the kitchen, and without thinking I just did the thing and walked on. Well, the baby man was amused. He burst out into the loudest laugh and cackled for a while. Later, when he was leaving, he told me I was funny and laughed a little more. Apparently baby man told the story to all their friends and they were cackling about it, and my sister has been hissy since. But she has not done the snappy thing again, so I guess it worked. Anyway, now everyone is saying that I shouldn't have done that, but read it Aita. ETA, when I said it worked like a charm, I meant that in that immediate instance she would stop and call the person by their name, although she would repeat the snappy thing again later. Also, I had to do it over 10x a day for almost 8 months, so believe me when I say it was reflex, you know, an action you do without thinking cause it's so obvious. NTA, she was not only being rude but had full warning of what you were going to do because you always do it. She shouldn't have to be laughed at to change her behavior, but if that's where she wants to set the bar, so be it. NTA, it seems you finally found a solution to her rude behavior. She'll get over it. I wouldn't have fingers to snap had I done that to my mom, lol. NTA, she seems to have no trouble dehumanizing others, so she got a taste of her own medicine. Hopefully she learned something. So you all asked her to stop and she didn't. You did the push down hand and be condescending thing for months and she still kept rudely snapping her fingers at you. I'm going with you did your best to stop her and she brought this on herself. NTA.